what is up? All right, we're going to get into a lot of stuff today. So we're going to get into Matt Gaetz' stuff. He's withdrawn. He was Trump's attorney general. Now he's withdrawn because of all the sex stuff. Allegations, all that pain stuff. We don't like that. Not good. Not a good look for Donald Trump. We also are going to get into Laken Riley's killer. He's been sentenced to life without parole. So we're going to get into that. We're also going to get into Russia using nuclear threats against us. That's big. You might want to stick around for that. All right. So if you like, when you watch this video, if you like it, make sure to hit the like button. If you want to see more, subscribe. All right. And, stick to the intro. Good afternoon, or whatever time you're watching it. It is November 21st, 2024, and we're getting into this. My computer screen's not working on the record thing, so I'm just going to read the title aloud. So, first of all, the Department of Justice says Google should have to sell Chrome to end its search monopoly. This is from the Washington Post, but this is from a bunch of other. I just picked the Washington Post one, kind of like this, how they depicted it. It is such a monopoly that Google has, and we know they're corrupt too. Like, it's just such a monopoly, and it's good. It's bad for capitalism if you have this one driving factor. So now that we can get some third parties in there so that we can have derived competition so that it ends up with the consumers benefiting from this. Okay, so consumers overall will benefit from this decision if it happens to get Chrome to be sold by Google. Google has a huge monopoly, or Alphabet does, and it's like a Rockefeller trust that they have. It's like, too big. All right, next one. So here we have a couple of picks. We're going to get into the Matt Gaetz drama in a little bit. Dr. Oz, he selected. This is Trump picks Dr. Oz to run Medicare and Medicaid, Linda McComb for education, Letnick for commerce. Now, this is from AP, the Associated Press. So, I don't know really who these people are. I think I covered the education guy last time, or woman. But, yeah, this is pretty good. So, the theory is that this woman's going to get in there and try to dismantle the Department of Education, because it's a mess. It really is. When we founded it, when Jimmy Carter made it, I think was the president, when Jimmy Carter made it, the education system, we went from first to about 30th in education in the world. It is not because other people are getting better, it's because we're getting worse. The education system, public education system is just so bad. Just and also in society-wise, everybody knows it's a terrible place to be. There's fights in every hallway, there's drugs everywhere. Not a good place to be, which is why I don't go to a public school. No, well, I'm upper middle class, so, I can afford that. So this is why we need to make the public school education better, so that other poor people, less fortunate people, can have access to good education under the Donald Trump administration, because it's good. It's good. All right. Yeah, this is another CNN article on Dr. Oz. All right. Now we're getting into Russia and Ukraine. So I covered this a little bit. I said that we need to get out of Ukraine and stop giving so much aid to it. No. Yeah, I still stand by that. I will always stand by that. America should be as isolated as possible until it affects them. So when we gave Ukraine long-range missiles, which was the article I was covering, it just didn't show because my computer screen's just not working anymore for recording. But I was covering that. And it's getting worse. I said that we need to stop. The only thing that could come out of it's bad, and Ukraine's not so innocent because they're not so innocent. But Putin is going a bit crazy. Putin firing tunes of Russian nuclear doctrine after Biden's arms decision on Ukraine and clear signal to West. This is from CNN. And then right after that, Ukraine fires several U.S.-made long-range missiles into Russia for the first time. From the AP, the Associated Press. So really, by their standards, they can launch nuclear weapons to us now, which is not the greatest thing in the world to be, honestly. If you live near a major city, I would get your bunker ready. Not good. We're on like the brink of World War III, probably one of the modern day Cuban Missile Crisis. It's either going to go like that, where we get World War III, or it's going to die down in a week, and we're just all going to forget this ever happened, you know? Next article. Yep. U.S. Embassy also closes in Kiev over potential significant air attack. So we closed down an embassy because of this growing sense of violence. It is not good. We need Donald Trump in this office as soon as humanly possible. Well, it'd be good for humanly possible. Here we go. Russia's swift march forward in Ukraine's east. They made some of the biggest territorial advances in the entire war in 1 month than pretty much all other months, almost combined, but not really combined. But October 2024 was a really good year for Russia. Good month for Russia, as they have taken about 167, it looks like, square miles of land. That's a really specific number off of a graph. They're marching on. They're doing really well in this. So, not great for Ukraine, not great for the world, because we're just getting war. Nothing comes out of this. It's going from one terrible regime to another terrible regime. They're both terrible regimes. Zelensky's not the greatest person either. Just like in Ukraine, and just like in Palestine and Israel. They're both not good regimes. Israel has its flaws. Palestine has a lot of flaws. But Israel is a bit better, is the lesser of the two evils, and also Israel has a bit of a right to that land as they've been there for thousands of years, while Palestine comes through with the Islamic Empire about 1,000 years ago, takes it over, kicks out the Jews, and then claims this has been our land the whole time, when Israel's been there for about 4,000 years, got kicked out 1,000 years ago, was kicked out by the Babylonians 3,000 years ago. Yeah, I think it was like 2,500 years ago. They came back and get kicked out again. It's a long story, It's so complicated, yet it doesn't matter in the end. It's the Holy Land, all right? Everybody wants it. All right. Yeah, more Putin stuff. This is big. All right. So this is like the start of it. I'm getting a bunch of articles from like the storyline start to the storyline finish. Matt Gaetz. We're not finished with it yet. We don't know how it's going to go. But, the Ethnics panel rejected to release some documents. Or the House, rejected the proposition to release his reports. Doesn't look good. Donald Trump, selected to be his attorney general, I think. Attorney general. And when this doesn't look good for the Trump administration, as Donald Trump has always had sex allegations, and now that one of his attorney general picks as this, doesn't look good. Then, they actually start tracing payments. Federal inquiry traced payments from Gaetz to women. The New York Times, that's what the New York Times says. And then Gaetz withdrawed from Trump's pick. So we won't have a Attorney General Gaetz, and I think he already resigned from Congress. So Matt Gaetz, obviously being the person a while back who was like the head of ousting Kevin McCarthy, which was like a terrible disgrace to the Republican Party, completely betrayed us. That gave us such a mess to clean up, and really, really angered a bunch of people, and it was just terrible. So, not to say I'm glad Matt Gaetz is gone, but I think he was a rhino a little bit. He was a little bit of a rhino, but Kevin McCarthy was also a rhino, because he gave all that money to Ukraine. He passed all those bills. He passed everything. We gave too much money to Ukraine. Speaker Johnson's not doing that well. He gave a bunch of money to Ukraine earlier, like a couple months ago, or however long. I think it was back in July. I don't know when he did, but he gave like $83 billion. A lot. That could solve homelessness in America. That's like so much money, and we shouldn't be doing that. Police Yep. Oh, no. Never mind. This is not the same thing. I thought I was talking about Matt Gaetz. No. This is talking about Pete Hegseth, I think. Yeah. No, I find it really funny how whenever Donald Trump picks somebody, they always bring up sex allegations. They can't find anything original. It always happens. It's their only one thing to say. Oh, either he's a racist, or he's a Nazi, or he's a sex offender. They gotta choose from the three for each one, and usually they're picking sex offenders for each one. They gotta stop this. This is just harming the country. It's just making our cabinet look bad, even though Biden's cabinet deserved to look bad. They were putting a bunch of DEI hires, but now they're basically lying. They're just publicating allegations. They don't even have any proof behind them. They're just allegations. It's just so dumb. I was watching this online on Instagram. I follow her on Instagram. Nancy, what was her last name? Nancy Mace. She put on a bunch of anti-transgender stuff on a bill to prohibit men from entering women's bathroom. Common sense, right? No. Because they're saying trans people can go into a woman's bathroom. No, that's very dangerous. That's dangerous to the woman. Dangerous to pretty much everybody. Not the men. Because the men don't care. The men will say, oh, I don't care. The only people who do care are the women. Women don't want a man in their bathroom. There's a reason we separate them. There's a reason, okay? Next, this is good news. Man convicted of killing Laken Riley, the person convicted in killing the illegal immigrant, he's been sentenced to life without parole. Good. Clean up the streets. Why is he in prison? Transfer him to Venezuela. Transfer him to a Venezuelan prison. Actually, that's a bad idea. Never mind. Venezuela's a crap hole. Venezuela's a crap hole. Don't go to... Because that's the reason he came over here. But their judicial system's a crap hole. That's what I mean. They won't be able to hold him. So I guess good thing that we're holding him in prison. Terrible thing. Why do we have him? And it's going to come to the point where we might have to use executions again if this gets to a bad point. My view on execution is the Catholic view, which is executions should only happen when a government cannot hold the people as prisoner. So an institution like America, we can obviously hold a bunch of prisoners, so we won't be doing any executions. I'm pro-life. I'm pro-life for criminals, and I'm pro-life for babies. So we shouldn't be executing people if we have the resources to hold them in a detainment center. But if you live in a country that can't hold a criminal in a detainment center, then sometimes an execution is necessary if they're too dangerous. So and if it gets to the point where there's so many murderers coming over the border, we're gonna have to use executions because they're murdering our civilians, and to the point where, this is a hypothetical, but if they are murdering to our civilians to the point where we can't even clean the streets and our prisons are just overflowing with them, we gotta use executions. It's the only way. All right, and that's the end of my articles. This is the longest video yet, I think. So if you stuck through this, you might as well subscribe. Very rare that somebody sticks through the whole video. Just hit that subscribe button. All right, so that's my thoughts on all this crap that's been going down.